Hello, welcome to the You Movement. I am B. I'm here lying down on a lovely tree here, connecting to the earth energy and grounding, getting some sunlight coming in. And it feels quite heavenly, even though there's still lots of snow on the ground and I might have a little bit of a muddy butt at the end of this, but I don't care, because this is what part of healing your life looks like. So today I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of have a day in the life with B. And to catch you up, I started this morning with a little bit of a lie-in, and then I put immediately on, upon waking, some affirmations to assist me shifting some worry. Worry is an energy that I've been sitting in for the last little while. As the Reiki number one principle is, just for today, I shall not worry. So I've been working on ways to cultivate how to clear that worry, because in healing your nervous system, you need to heal the anxiety and the worry that is a built-in program that I've talked about in other videos. And there's so many great free resources that you can find on YouTube. I found an affirmations on releasing worry, and I put that on and stayed in bed, because just before you go to sleep and just after is the best part of the day to listen to affirmations, because your brain waves are in a special state that allows the stuff to come in more easily without as much resistance. So I just lay there comfortably in my bed and listened to affirmations for an extra hour, which was a wonderful, just soothing way to start the day. Then I got up, made myself a mushroom coffee, as opposed to, and when I say coffee, there's actually no coffee in it. It's cacao. It's 5 different adaptogenic mushrooms to help with memory focus, because mushrooms are our best friends here on this awakening path, because they do great things to assist our brain in new neural pathways to bring us out of old ways of thinking, old ways, belief systems, old habits, and create new neural pathways. So when you're in a healing phase of integrating new awarenesses, utilizing mushrooms, reishi mushrooms, cordyceps, there's a whole bunch of them on there. So I'm going to highly recommend, if you are still a coffee drinker and drinking caffeine, you wean yourself onto a mushroom coffee and or a mushroom chocolate. It's like hot chocolate drink. See how you get on with that. Little trick that I do recommend is, if you're eating or drinking mushrooms, you consume it with a little tablespoon of coconut oil, because the oil intensifies the healing properties of mushrooms. Then I made my way out to my local park, walking in perfect alignment, getting a good knee bend in today to help cultivate greater flexibility, and allowing my body to feel grounded and feel heavy as I moved along, really connecting in and calling in and asking for grounding. So as I was out walking today, doing my movement meditation, I was visualizing roots growing from the bottom of my feet, really connecting me into the earth. Today's walking isn't about losing weight for me or shuffling or anything like that, where it would have been 2 years ago. Today has really been more about grounding and getting into that feminine energy. So I found myself my favorite tree to just sit near. I'm out looking at a football field, watching some young kids kick a soccer ball about, but I'm in the line of the sun. This tree here has a nice little slope, so I can just lie on it and get a lot of my body connected to the earth. I'm all leaned on an angle, because the problem is we go out walking and we all have rubber shoes. I don't feel like taking my shoes off per se. Actually, why not? Let's just do it. You know, if my butt can withstand the cold, let's just take my shoes off as well and get my feet touching the very cold mud. A little bit of coldness isn't going to kill us, is it? You know. So here we are. sitting up now that I've got my feet underneath me. And even though it's January in Canada, which is normally very snowy time of the year, but we're having almost spring kind of day, so I'm digging it. So I'm going to continue this video series when I get to the next part of a day of a life with B. But for now, I'm just going to sit here and connect to the earth and ground. Maybe you want to go and do that too. So my adventure continues. I found myself this lovely park bench a little bit further up the path that I was going that is in direct sunlight, which is heavenly. And I'm doing a yummy breathing technique that I learned recently, which is an inhale of however many counts is comfortable for you. For me, it's usually between 4 and 6. And then whatever your exhale is 1 count longer. So I'm just sitting, enjoying, basking in the sunlight and let's do this breath together. Doing an inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that really empties out right down into the belly, doing a deep diaphragmatic belly breath, allowing that breath to come in and totally fill yourselves up and just focusing on the breath. And so I'm going to do that here for the next 5 minutes and just enjoy the sunshine that I'm receiving, the light codes that are coming in, and the grounding. And I'm listening to my Awakening playlist, which is my playlist that I created for myself for some of my own inspirational music to keep me in a higher vibe. Make sure the music that you're choosing to listen to is raising your frequency, not lowering it, although it is useful at times if you're trying to purge or process. I have playlists for every type of emotion. I have a playlist called Blue You for when I need to release and let go of emotions, and it can help facilitate that clearing. And I have inspirational when I need to get my Rocky vibe on and I can tackle anything. And then I have my Awakening playlist, which is just keeping me in a place of inspirited, because music is inspirational, right? In spirit. So when musicians create their music, they are inspirited. And so the music that you choose to listen to will affect you emotionally one way or another. So I'm going to continue to my playlist and my breathing, and I'll check back in when I get home. Okay, so we're back from our walk. Welcome to my kitchen, where I'm going to first rehydrate myself. This is some Celtic salt that I highly recommend everybody get, and I've just shook out a small granule. It's a coarse grain, so they've got one little, I don't know if you can see that, a tiny little granule of salt, and I'm going to put that on my tongue, because that gives us all of our magnesium, potassium, calcium, all our minerals that we need. The Celtic salt is got the highest level of all the natural minerals that our body requires. And then now that that's sucking into my mouth here, I'm going to down half a glass of water, because we want to be drinking at least 2 liters of water a day, and that's very difficult. So I'll drink another half a glass of water in a little bit to pace it out. If we drink too much too quick, then it's just going to flow through us. If you want to know more about Celtic salt and why it's so absolutely incredible, I'm going to put a link below to just an absolutely mind-blowing video by Barbara McNeil, who talks a lot about the benefits of Celtic sea salt and why you should be taking it. All of us, every single human on the planet. So it doesn't matter what your condition is or what you're dealing with emotionally, mentally, physically, Celtic sea salt. I haven't eaten yet today. So on this journey, I have become very adept at listening to my body's needs. And I was always the type of person that didn't like breakfast. Breakfast wasn't my jam at all. And even though that's what we're told, remember, 1, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just telling you how I have transitioned my own life from being well over 250 pounds. I don't actually know what I was at my heaviest because I stopped paying attention. I would go to the doctors and I would be like, okay, it's past the 250 mark. If I look over here, it doesn't exist. I lost well over 130 pounds. And one way I did that was by listening to my own body, not listening to the advice of other people. And my body would tell me what it wanted and when it wanted it. The more in tune you get to listening to your body will have cravings. And if it's craving sugar, that's not your body. That's candida that's talking. It's like having your brain being controlled by a fungus inside of your stomach. Gut-brain connection. It's like being remote controlled by the bacteria and the fungus and all the microorganisms that they want their own things. So they're going to direct you to eat the foods that they want. And the foods that they want are sugar, high carbs, gluten, dairy, all of that kind of foods. They're going to be like, yeah, give me all of that. Yeah, that makes me feel good. But your actual body, when you start listening to your body will be like, I want spinach. I want liver. I want oranges. When your body starts craving actually healthy foods, give it what your body wants. And when your body says, I'm hungry, feed it. And when your body says, I'm not hungry, don't feed it. Breakfast is when you break your fast. So there's lots of videos and specialists on intermittent fasting. I didn't go and research them or anything like that. I just, my number one expert on intermittent fasting was my body. My body would tell me when to eat and when not to eat. So I stopped listening to the societal expectations of 3 meals a day, and I ate when I was hungry. Some days I would eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And some days I'd be like, no, not feeling very hungry at all today. But I still have to eat, because especially during this awakening process, there have been phases where my body has wanted to fast. And I mean extended fasts. And the reason for that has been because in those times where my body was asking for an extended amount of fasting, I was going through a lot of emotional purges, a lot of emotional releases. And the body struggles to do 2 things at the same time. So if you're in a digestive state and you're processing foods, it's hard to process emotions. So I would listen to my body, and other than give it the bare minimum for survival in these stretches during the dark night of the soul, I would allow myself to eat less foods because I was processing so much emotionally. I was purging a lot, crying. I was going through physical releases of emotional flashbacks and trauma resurfacing and a whole bunch of other things. So intermittent fasting is something that the body naturally will get into its own rhythms with. And so the more we can be in partnership with our own body, listening to our own body, observing our own body, mindfulness of our own body, the more that the body is going to tell you what it needs and when it needs it. So I'm going to make myself my smoothie that I live off of every single day now. There are 2 options. I used to do when I was trying to lose a lot of weight and I felt like I needed a little bit more substance in my gut, what I called the breakfast for spiritual warriors. And I'll post what that is there. I have done a video on it in my body playlist. You can see a link for the breakfast of spiritual warriors. But quickly, what it is chia, 1/3 chia, 1/3 buckwheat grouts, whole buckwheat grouts, and hemp hearts. And that became my dry blend, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 mixed together in a big Tupperware. You can get them at Whole Food places or Bulk Barn or individual packets at a healthy section. And I would make that up as a mix. And then I would have that every single day. Every single day. Eating becomes about functionality, and eating becomes about, this is a goal to something. This isn't about I'm having a desirable experience. So your shopping list goes way down in how much food you actually buy, because you're having the same things day in, day out. And I found that was simplicity works, the old acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And so I was keeping it as simple as possible. Otherwise, I'd be buying all this stuff and putting it in my fridge, and then, oh my God, it's going off, and I've just wasted money. And who can waste produce with the cost of groceries this day and age? So I'd have the dry blend mixed with frozen berries, mixed with full fat yogurt, at one stage before I gave up dairy, and then that turned into coconut-based yogurt instead, so that I'd be getting my probiotics, and then some greens powder. And so I make my own blend of greens powder. And what my greens powder consists of is a third chlorella powder, a third spirulina powder, and a third moringa powder. So then each smoothie that I make, because now I no longer have that dry blend because I don't want to feel as full. I've moved away from the breakfast of spiritual warriors when I was trying to lose weight, and I've moved into a much more liquid type of diet because my stomach it's not interested in that heaviness. It doesn't have a need or a feel for like, oh, I need to have too much weight in my stomach. So I do a half a cup of frozen berries. Next, I'm gonna add protein powder, and the protein powder that I most recommend, Vega 1. And I'm gonna do 1.5 scoops in there. And then I'm gonna add, so Vega 1 does a nutritional, Vega is the name, and it does 1, it is the particular one that they do. And they have all the nutritional things that you need, like all your daily requirements, jam-packed in that protein powder. And I have the vanilla flavored one, and it's fine, and sweetened by stevia. So it doesn't have any sugar in it at all, or artificial sweeteners. And then I do a nice heaping spoonful of my greens powder in here. And I add a little bit of chia in this smoothie here. And I'm also going to add some fat because we don't eat enough healthy fats in our diet. So I'm gonna add a tablespoon of coconut oil here. And coconut oil is should also be on the list of your new best friends. I use coconut oil for absolutely everything. So we've already had a tablespoon of coconut oil this morning with our mushroom cocoa. The coconut oil, I use it for everything. Okay, I use it on my skin. I use it while I'm doing my cupping to give me some traction. I use it in my hair if it gets too dry, for after sun care. And I consume a lot of coconut oil because it's antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, so all the stuff that's in your gut that you don't want in your gut will not like the coconut oil. The coconut oil will help clear that stuff out. We want it gone. So then finally, I'm gonna add some water to my mix. So for water, just so you know, not all waters are created equally. And what I use is, and I'll show you here. So I have a stainless steel. This one is by Dalton. Otherwise you can get the Big Berkeley, or you can get Santivia. Counter water filtration systems. They cost a couple $100, but they're worth their weight in gold. So you can put your water from your tap in through the system and it filters it out. You can get different types of filters depending on where you are, but you want to get rid of all the chlorine as well as fluoride. So I have, I believe, done other videos on fluoride. If I haven't and you need more information about fluoride, you gotta not be taking the fluoride. You want to be able to, and a Brita's not going to cut it. It's not going to get rid of the fluoride out of the water for you. And if you are still using fluoride for your dental care, please stop immediately. That does terrible things to your pineal gland. It calcifies that. And if you're wanting to reach a state of higher awareness and connecting to spirit and source, to eliminate the fluoride as much as you possibly can. So do a little bit of research and look in to see if your township puts fluoride in their water, because each township has their own rules and regulations in regards to fluoridization of the water. You can get these countertop systems that you can take with you, which is convenient, right? They're less expensive than getting something built into your home, and you can take them with you if you're going away for the weekend or whatever. So this one has like candle ceramic filters that it needs to like go through. It takes a while. The Santivia system is a really nice system. I had Santivia for a very long period of time. I really like it as well. So those two systems, and the Santivia one's less expensive because it's not stainless steel. I wanted to move upwards into a stainless steel unit because the Santivia one, although it's BPA-free plastic, I still wanted to move into a stainless steel option. But the Santivia system I had for 10 years, and I I think it's a good system. It's a good starting point to start with, and it's a nice and cheap place to start. And you will have to change your filters, which is a little bit pricey, but there you go. Either start with the Breakfast of Warriors if you're trying to lose some weight and you still feel like you want to have some heaviness into the gut, and you'll find along the ascension process that your requirements for food becomes less and less and less, and you start transitioning into a more liquid diet. That's simply because your body doesn't want or need the same degree of heaviness. So the more you listen to your body, that's a good thing. So this is super delicious. Okay, so I've just thrown some laundry in, so I'm accomplishing some things in my outer sphere. Now we're going to do some yin yoga. So today I've chosen a 1 hour yin yoga for hip flexibility, yin yoga hips and hamstrings deep stretch by Yoga with Cassandra. It will be added to my playlist that I've created here on the Yin Movement called Yin Yoga. As I do each different one, I'm going to keep adding another yoga that I say, yep, that's a good one to do. They're all primarily focused right now around the low back, the hips, the root chakra, because that's where we store our trauma. A lot of our trauma is stored in the hips. I know that as I've been doing a lot of the yoga and realigning my spine and correcting everything here, sitting up in better posture, things are releasing. Now I'm still working on clearing out the bottom 3 vertebrae are still tight and clenched. There's pain in there. Nothing compared to what it was 3-4 years ago. It's a steady process of working at it. You know, you have to treat it like this is physiotherapy, and you really have to commit to a daily practice as much as humanly possible to your body and giving your body what it needs to stretch and to release and to relax. So just before I go and do this practice, I wanted to walk through some things. So just so you know, I have down on the ground a yoga mat, but I also have a Mexican blanket just to add warmth. So yin yoga is all mostly done on the ground. I get cold. When you lose a lot of weight, you're cold all the time. And I don't have my heat on full blast because the kids wouldn't like that. By no means. So I dress as warmly as possible, lots of comfort clothes. Having a nice blanket underneath, a wool blanket, doesn't matter, just adds a degree of softness and comfort, because especially when you're doing work on your back, I find that just a yoga mat alone is far too uncomfortable. So some tools that I'm going to highly recommend that you get yourself if you're going to start doing a practice of yin yoga is a few blocks. These are very good because one thing I love about Yoga with Cassandra is she's very good at giving you alternate positionings, you know, so she's not trying to get you into like crazy shapes that you can't do at age 51, that's how old I am, or over years of trauma and tightness and restriction. A lot of the positions I can't get into, I don't have that degree of flexibility yet. Give me a couple more years and who knows what state I'll be in. Maybe I'll be able to do the splits for the first time in my life. That would be nice. So getting yourself some blocks will help you in some positions ease off of some of the pressure, because you don't want to injure yourself. You always want to make sure that you're in the best alignment. It's all about alignment and aligning your body. So if you need extra tools to help get you into a position. For example, baby dragon is this guy here. So it's like a low lunge, and I use the blocks. I would assist myself by using the blocks under my hands here as I'm doing the baby dragon, because to do my hands all the way down on the ground is too much of a stretch for me. So highly recommend blocks. And also highly recommend you get yourself one of these dudes. I don't know if it's a yoga specific strap or what, but it's a stretching strap. This guy here has been hugely beneficial, because some of the positions when a young yogini says, and just reach your foot, I'm like, what do you, I can't reach my foot. It helps assist you. So with this guy, I'm going to tell you a tale about a happy baby pose. Happy baby pose is when you're lying on your back and you're supposed to be able to hold your feet. Yeah. For those of us that have a lot of trauma, a happy baby pose is not such a happy pose at all. It's probably my hardest pose that I have to do. And I try to do happy baby pose every single day now, because I'm really trying to heal the root chakra to help ground that and to help clear where a lot of the trauma is stored, which is there in the hips. And so while I'm in happy baby pose, my legs begin to shake. I can feel the shaking happening, and oftentimes that is accompanied by release of tears and release of trauma. So just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I do whatever her program is, and I add happy baby pose to the end of all of my yoga sessions. So I'm going to just turn myself around, and we're going to lie down. Hopefully you can see me here. Use this strap here. And so just allowing myself to be in this position, slight rocking is necessary to ease my spine down into the mat, the lower vertebrae. I will stay in this pose anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, altering, moving every so slightly, doing what intuitively feels comfortable, allowing the releases. So in this pose, after a amount of time, as I said, some shakes will start to happen. And when those shakes start to happen, that's a good thing. It's when I'm releasing more of the trauma that's locked in there. Those are just the tools that I use for my yoga. So I'm going to go off and do my yoga now. If you want to join me in doing today's yoga, the link for that will be in the description below, as well as in the playlist for Yin Yoga. So we'll see you after yoga. Okay, so we finished yoga. Now I'm going to have some more Celtic salt. My cat's mewing in the background there. She wants some of her dinner. And I'm looking for some more nutrition now. My body's hungry, so I've boiled the kettle, and I'm going to make myself some bone broth. Some bone broth. So bone broth should be a staple in your diet if you're trying to heal and repair your gut. The collagen that comes from the bone broth helps heal any symptoms of leaky gut. Leaky gut is something you need to look into if you're having a lot of digestive issues. So I normally make my own bone broth, and that's a slow cooked bone broth for 24 hours on simmer for poultry bones, and for bigger bones, beef bones, I would cook for 48 hours in a slow cooker and or on low on the burner. I don't have any of homemade at the moment, so I have my backup of a powdered bone broth. So I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of that, some hot water, and my next little bit of nutrition to get into me. As I said, I know a lot of people may not agree with eating meat and animal products, but I'm trying to heal my life. So I'm going to do what's nutritionally the best options for me at this time. Now, when you're having bone broth, one of the things that I like to add is either kimchi or sauerkraut. And when I say sauerkraut, I don't mean the dry shelf sable sauerkraut that you get that's pickled. If it comes from the fridge, sauerkraut that has all your pre and probiotics to help your gut to make it better. So bone broth with either of those added is an excellent snack or lunch or part of a lunch, bottoms up to that. So I'm going to drink this as I go do some chores now around the house that need to get done. Just sip on this and get all the healing into me through some bone broth. So I've done my chores and eaten my bone broth, and now I've lit a candle, put some incense on, have some solfeggio frequencies all set up to play while I do a little bit of trigger point release therapy. So I've talked in a couple of videos about these. And what I'm going to use today primarily are probably going to be these two. We have the peanut that goes all the way along the spine, helping to release the trauma that's locked in the muscles and the fascia, as well as this little guy, which is nice and spiky, as you can see. And this one is particularly good at getting into the areas. So I'm going to do about a half an hour of trigger point release. So I'm lying down with my feet up the wall. I have my little peanut in the lowest vertebrae on my spine, and I'll keep it there for about a minute and then move it up and move it up and move it up and move it up. This is an excellent way to just release. We did a good bit of stretching in the low back today and in the hip area, which was lovely. And I can still feel a good bit of pain in there. So I want to get in because it's a way of getting like a nice little massage. I'm just wiggling my legs a little bit back and forth along the wall as I'm on the peanut. So it's creating a nice little self-massage type of feeling in there. I just intuitively stay and go where I can feel the sore spots. And when I'm done using the peanut, I'll move over to the spiky ball to get into the areas in the glutes and the piriformis, a little bit in the hips, not directly on bone, but use your own guidance of what feels good for you. I enjoy this trigger point release because it's like a self-massage, like shiatsu massage that really gets like deep into the tissue. So like right now I'm just like rocking my legs back and forth, or sometimes I'll have my legs straight, but just rocking my legs back and forth relieves a lot of the pain that's in there. I'm hoping that will clear out any restrictions in my low back, thus relieving some of the pain in the nervous system and calming the nervous system down. I've been using trigger point release throughout my entire awakening process. I've found it to be hugely beneficial. Through this process, one of the things, the most useful tool is to just constantly be asking, what does my body want to do now? Squeezing in 15 minutes of trigger point release at some point in your day can make a huge difference. Absolutely. So I'm going to just go back to my solfeggio frequency sounds. I found a playlist that's for pain reduction, and I'm going to just let myself enjoy this. So talk to you soon. Just did some lovely trigger point release on my back, which released some tears, some more insights into self, which is always a good thing, and some more Celtic salt under the tongue and some water. And now my body wants more nutrition, so I'm making up myself a little broccoli, potato, and egg concoction. Now, when I was trying to lose weight, I wasn't eating white potatoes, but now that I'm not worried about losing weight, I have returned potatoes because root vegetables are particularly good and grounding. But if you are trying to lose weight, you might want to replace the white potato with a sweet potato. Make yourself a nice dish that includes some root vegetables, because the root vegetables, especially if you're on an awakening path and going through Dark Night of the Soul, you want to have as much root as possible. This has a little bit of green, a little bit of rounded veg, and a little bit of protein. Bon appetito! So while my dinner's cooking up here, I've also put the kettle on so that I can have after dinner a nice herbal tea. My favorite herbal teas are anything that's soothing and relaxing, so chamomile. I have a good night blend that's quite nice. I have an oat grass that's particularly good for soothing nerve tonic, and lemon balm, loose leaf teas. So while I have my dinner cooking, I've put the kettle on, and I'm going to make myself my tea now so that by the time I get to it after dinner, it's well and truly steeped. I have a good night blend tonight. I'm going to let that steep for a good half an hour before I drink it and cover it up, and it'll be nice and get all the medicinal qualities out of the tea bag that I'm using today. And Okay, so dinner was delicious. I finished some chores that I needed to get done, and now I'm pouring myself a spiritual bath to purify and cleanse my energy. And my spiritual bath is comprised of Epsom salts, baking soda. Tonight I used some bentonite clay in there just to add an earth element to it. And I've put in a little bit of aromatherapy. A blend for the crown chakra was what I was directed to, which will be a little bit uplifting. So I'm going to go have my spiritual cleansing bath now and just relax and put on some nice soothing music, light a candle, making it as sensory an experience as you can so that you can enjoy. I probably am going to try some binaural beats music to give me some just soothing energy that will be nice and healing while I'm in my bath. After that, I plan to get out and do a little bit of meditation to end my healing journey for the day. So I'm not going to have you join me for that, but I hope you all enjoyed your day with B, and this is what any given day might look like in regards to healing practices that I regularly use to help transition me from who I once was, which was a very unhealthy person, into who I'm becoming, which is a much healthier person. So that said, I hope you all have a lovely day. If you have any questions, comments, anything that you want some clarification over, please feel free to drop a comment. I really appreciate all the comments that come in. Please feel free to like or subscribe to the channel if the content that you're receiving is something that resonates with you. Please share if you know somebody that might benefit from the content of this channel. Please share. The more shares and the more subscriptions that I get, it's getting me closer and closer to my goal of 1,000. And once I reach that goal, that's one of the check marks that I need. So I really appreciate all of the likes, the subscribes, the shares, everything that you guys do to help my channel grow. It means the absolute world to me. So thank you from the very bottom of my heart. And that said, peace out.